again, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Game Hunting with a bit of a difference, as this time we are live in the valleys of Wales. I'm on vacation, but you know, I'm going to be doing a little bit of game hunting while I'm here.
Get pick up! Building the gangster! Run tricks! Not game hunting! Oh yeah!
As I said, it is a very special episode of Game Hunting Live, as I'm going to be going around Wales. I am on vacation. I will be visiting loads of little towns, villages, and some awesome sightseeing attractions. I'm taking you folks along for the ride. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Please remember to subscribe for new videos every Saturday live at 5. Now, let's get hunting. Here we are then at the first location of our trip, Snowdonia, and yeah, apologies in advance, my Welsh pronunciation may be pretty rubbish, you know, I am from Norfolk, as you know, and yeah, what an amazing place to start with. It's beautiful beaches, coastline and long pier, a great place to start the hunt. Being a family holiday, of course, I had to bring the dog along for the hunt, so into the first charity shop. And one of the first things we met with, as you often are in most charity shops, is a wall of DVDs. Nothing stood out at first, but one thing I did pick up was this copy of Doom, one of like the kind of most mediocre film crossovers of all time, of course starring The Rock, and somebody you don't really think about when you think about this film, Carl Urban, you know, who plays Billy Butcher in The Boys. Also in this shop they had these really old, like 60s or 70s soap boxes, which I thought were pretty cool. Just further down the road we have a dedicated video game shop, and this is Games and Gear in London, and yeah, it is a really cool kind of retro and modern gaming shop. I didn't have a ton of time to look around here, you know, the dog was outside whining, but they had some really good selection of like PlayStation and PSP games, some really nice retro bits, like these were in really good condition. I didn't really want to buy anything to take around with me. One of the best things I saw was this Mega Drive console, and yeah, these Mega Drive minis are getting super expensive, so it's cool to see that for a good price. On to the next charity shop, and there was quite a few video games, strangely 2 copies of Disneyland Connect, which is a bit weird. Yeah, classic load of FIFAs, a lot of FIFAs as you see in every charity shop, so nothing really to see here. But yeah, it's just good to be seeing some video games. So far I've been around quite a few shops and hadn't seen very many games yet. At least it's a good sign to see video games. Only really one cool thing here was this copy of Lemmings for the PC CD-ROM. On to the next charity shop, and again some video games, that's always good. Some Call of Duties, but sadly not the ones you can trade into CX for some decent credit, and then mainly a lot of sports games. You know, there is a couple of FIFAs that is worth picking up for trading, but they are very few and far between. Same with Call of Duty, if you get the correct ones they trade in well at CX. The next store was sadly mainly DVDs and a couple of CDs, but the best thing we found in this store was this friend for Bowie, so he did find a friend in this charity shop, so it's quite nice for him to find something on the hunt. The next store, and I did find a CD to pick up, and for £1, you know, I'm not really going to complain because, you know, I'm driving around a lot, so I need some decent music. There was a couple of games as well, but, you know, I already had this Beijing Olympics game. But in the next store, they did have a clearance box, which did say 5 for £1 on. I was quite tempted to pick a few of these up. There was nothing too exciting or stuff I didn't already have in the collection. I did pick a couple of these up, so stick around until the end of the video to see what they were. I didn't really argue too much because the games were separately priced, as well as saying on the box 5 for £1, so I just paid for each game. Back at the front of the store they did have this copy of Guitar, which I think was quite overpriced. One last very cool thing we did find before we left was this Zoltar Speaks, which is infamous for that movie Big, and yeah, this thing was super cool to see in the wild in 2022.
Keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool, than to open it and remove all doubt. And also, my friend, it is wise to be taking good advice when you hear it, no? Return to Zoltar, and I will give you more words of wisdom.
Of course, we did get our fortune from the machine, and you know, you could argue this may have been printed and just be a very generic thing, but if you look here, it does fit very well. You know, it was all about travel, finding happiness, and yeah, it sounded good. We finished our day with a walk along the pier, and in one of the shops on the pier they had one of the biggest selection of hot toys I think I've ever seen. These are super cool but do have a super high price tag, and yeah, that was the end of the first day of game hunting, and what a view this is. Like, they say the weather in Wales is rubbish, but we were here and the weather was absolutely amazing. For the next hunt, we were again on the coast after an 8-mile hike in the port village of Barmouth, and again, what an incredible view. The weather again was absolutely amazing, very warm, but at least we're near the sea so we can always jump in and cool off a little bit. But yeah, again, amazing views all around Wales. Like, look at this beach, it just goes on forever. Here we go then into the first charity shop, and if nothing else, it was good to be out of the sun. It was super warm today, and yeah, one of the first things I found was this Predator Pro flight stick, and these things used to cost so much back in the day, and it's really cool to see them complete in the box. And I think when I start hunting around the games over here, you can see that whoever donated this must have been a massive flight simulator fans. You see here, there's nothing too exciting, couple of games, but here is something that I don't think I've ever seen before. And yeah, these are super cool. I don't know if these would be worth something. They're like expansions and photographic sceneries for flight simulators. Like, let me know, I may have really missed the boat on that one. I did pick up a couple of Xbox 360 games in here. First one being Fight Night. For £1, it might be the classics box, but yeah, it's getting harder to find Xbox 360 games I need, so let's grab it. May have missed this bargain bin on the way in as I was just trying to shelter from the sun, but yeah, shout out to Command & Conquer Red Alert 2 on the PC. Easily one of the best kind of strategy games of all time. Yeah, love it. Final stop while we're here was randomly the original factory shop because I needed to pick up some swimming shorts because it was suddenly the hottest day of all time. Did see these really cool Masters of the Universe He-Man figures. I love when they kind of make these retro looking modern figures. £15 I think is a little bit high for this, but very cool nonetheless. Our next port of call, if you excuse the pun, is the coastal town of Caernarfon, which is absolutely dominated by this massive castle. And yeah, again, another amazing piece of Welsh coastline. Just look at it. Also home to the smallest bar in Wales, which you knew I had to visit. And yeah, to be fair, it was a very small bar, but very good nonetheless. Onto the charity shops, and straight away I find this box of PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 and DVDs. And yeah, a lot of FIFAs in here, but I did want to check the price on some of these more recent FIFAs. And do you know what, it amazes me. If it is not the present year or the year before, these FIFA games are pretty much worthless, except for some of the ones on Xbox 360. If you get kind of the last release on a console, sometimes they're worth it. I was actually surprised FIFA Street wasn't worth a bit more, as it's actually one of the FIFA games I do enjoy. And also, yeah, that Gran Turismo game wasn't very much trade-in. I did manage to find a couple of cool DVDs in here though. As you all know by now, I'm a massive Turtles fan, and this is one of the few films I haven't seen. It isn't on any streaming website, so yeah, gonna grab the DVD. I tend to think I have a pretty good knowledge of board games, especially when you kind of talk about the Warhammer and Games Workshop games, but I've never heard of this MB and Citadel crossover game. It was pretty expensive. I did check the eBay sellings of this afterwards, and yeah, that is probably the price of it. But yeah, very interesting item to see, especially in a charity shop. Inside the store, they actually had a pretty good selection of video games, so a lot of Wii games, and yeah, some pretty cool titles here, like not exactly the biggest titles, not exactly shovelware though, the kind of cool oddities I like to add into my collection. So yeah, straight away grabbing an off-road game. Next up, we're just going through. We do have some DS games, and yeah, I did see a couple of awesome little bits hiding in here. So I did check the price of Guitar Hero World Tour. Sadly, this one doesn't trade in for much CX, but it's always worth checking the trade-in on these games, and some of them do trade in for a bit more than you'd expect. Another game which kind of piqued my interest was Winter Sports 2009, that's because this uses the Wii balance board, which I thought could be pretty cool, if not a little bit weird. A game I do already have in a collection, and one of my top 10 light gun games of all time is Ghost Squad for the Wii. If I didn't have this, or if it traded in better, I'd have definitely grabbed that. One I did check was this copy of Madden 25, as again, like the FIFA games, there's a couple of these Madden games that do trade into CX for a decent profit. But yeah, it was cool to finally see some games. It's been a little bit dry. On to the next. The next store may have had not just the most expensive games in Wales, possibly the most overpriced games I've ever seen in a charity shop. £7 for Tom Clancy's End Wars, absolutely laughable, and Rainbow Six 2 for £5. Absolutely crazy. These are like 50p to £1 in CX. I was contemplating picking this one up, so I could speak a little bit of the local language, but yeah, they were some absolutely incredible prices on games. We are then the final location we're going to be hunting on this trip in Porthmadog on the coast again of Wales, and again an absolutely breathtaking view, amazing weather, and yeah, like, could you really hope for a better place to hunt? Just miles of golden sand, rolling mountains, and yeah, an amazing landscape. First charity shop and a DVD box set which I see all the time, normally for a lot less money, that one of you lovely folks commented on one of my previous videos saying I should have picked up to trade into CX. If it had been cheaper, I would have definitely picked it up. In the next store, another video game crossover movie I haven't seen, Tekken. And, you know, I have no idea if this is good or bad, but for 50p, I'm going to take a chance. You know, you never know, this could be as good as Street Fighter. This is it then, the final shop to hunt around in Wales, and there was nothing really here, sadly. But at the end of the day, we may not have found anything too groundbreaking on this trip, but, you know, the game hunting was a bit of a bonus. I was mainly here for walking, sightseeing, and just experiencing the amazing beauty that is Wales. Like, I have not been to Wales for easily 30 years, and I was blown away. Just the natural beauty of this place is absolutely fantastic. It was good to get away, to recharge the batteries, to relax, and just take it all in. Now, let's start the long drive back to the games room. Here we are then, many hours later and many miles later, back in Norfolk, back in the games room. What an amazing holiday that was. Let's go through the games we picked up. So what I first pick up here is this Mad Capsule Market OSC DISCD, and this is an absolute banger. If you have not heard this before, I thought I had this in my collection, but I think I lent it to somebody over the years and lost it. If for nothing else, check out the music videos off this album, they are absolutely incredible. Yes, I am one of those people who still buys DVDs, especially if they're not on streaming websites. Basically, if films aren't on streaming websites, the only way you can really do it is pick them up on DVD, and chances are they're going to be super cheap. So the first one I picked up is this Tekken movie, and let me know in the comments down below. I know there is a lot of really rubbish video game movies. I want to know if this is one of them, or if it's one of the very few hidden gems. The other one we have is Tmnt, the movie, and you know, they've just released Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Rise, and yeah, I wasn't really a fan of that one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this one out. I'm a massive Tmnt fan, so hopefully this one's really good. Going on to some games now, we have these two Wii games. These were both £2 each. It's about the price they would have been in CX, but you know, there's a lot of Wii shovelware, and these are kind of two of the more interesting ones. First up, we have Winter Sports, the Next Challenge 2009. The interesting thing about this one is that you can play it using the Wii balance board, which I think could be pretty cool for some of these sports. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to checking that one out. And then we have Land Rover Ford Off-Road. You know, I've seen a lot of wilderness on this holiday, a lot of off-roading. I kind of thought this one kind of fits the theme. I have such a nostalgia for these Xbox demo discs, so whenever I see one I don't have, I'm gonna pick it up. But again, another tip for everyone out there game hunting, make sure you check your discs, as inside it has game demos just for fun. So I had no idea what this was to begin with, and it turns out, yes, it's obviously a Kinect demo disc. I think this normally came with the Star Wars Kinect game, which is one of the worst, if not one of the funniest things of all time. So yeah, pretty gutted I didn't actually have the demo disc in here. But yeah, it's kind of fun to be able to play these Kinect demos. Finally, a couple of games for the Xbox 360. As I have over 400 Xbox 360 games now, it's getting harder to pick up these titles cheap. So, Frontline's Fuel of War, if you've played Battlefield, kind of early Call of Duty, it's that kind of thing. It's a shame this one didn't pick up. I kind of enjoyed the kind of fuel mechanic in this game. For 50p for an Xbox 360 game I don't have, definitely going to pick that up. And Fight Night Round 3. You know, there's not many boxing games. This is one of the good ones, and to pick it up for £1 isn't too bad. If for nothing else, the achievements in this are fairly easy. So there we have it. They may not have been the most exciting charity shop finds this week, but the thing was, it was a holiday, and it was all about the experiences. At the end of the day, I wasn't really there to be out game hunting, but you know, it's a little bit of a bonus while I'm there. It was an amazing holiday. I've come back feeling revitalised, ready to go again, and to keep on the hunt. So, thanks for watching, hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, keep playing the game. See y'all soon.